Hello, dear Leo. I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your February 2021 video. And this is going to give you some pins on the map for the astrological influences. Remember, the planets don't make us do anything, but they can influence the energy field. And you're going to feel it because you're made of earth and stars. And so here we are. If you have your sun, moon, or rising sign in Leo, this is how the planetary energy may line up for you this month. So we're going to start with Mars. It's still in Taurus. It's been in Taurus since January 6th, and it is moving through your 10th house, which is your house of social status, success, and failure. It's your house of career and how you are perceived in the public image. With Mars in Taurus, you're going to be looking for some creative ways to advance your career. And you probably have already started putting those plans in place, maybe having some talks with others. You've probably also dealt with some tension because January was full of some pretty intense moments. And as Mars continues, it's the planet of passion and drive and energy, impulsiveness, but it's also one that incites anger. And when it's in Taurus, it can be slow to anger, but it also can be more passive aggressive. So you may be experiencing in your career some frustrations, or maybe you've had to deal with some passive aggressive attitudes and trying to get some of the things you've wanted to get done. However, your methodical and practical approach to whatever is being called for you from this level is you're going to offer some sustainability for your social influence. So if you're willing to take your time and be slow to anger or slow to frustration and reaction, you're going to find that you can channel this passion in the month of February towards a more sustainable future. There's also this drive in you that will be ignited to build from the past. What have you learned, even just from the last month, maybe the last year, couple years, and being able to drive the energy towards a greater sense of success for you. Success is defined in many different ways for many different people. So whether it's building something that rewards you with great money, or it gives you a good reputation, or it allows you more freedom to spend time with your family, whatever it is, this is what may be driving you for the month of February, is making sure that you have this foundation in place to be able to feel successful. The other thing that you may be working with is having well-developed powers in the physical realm, and it can show up in some sort of art form. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a painter or sculptor, but you may be using something like music or some other form of art, food, even creating food, to be able to offer. It'll give you a good reputation, but it also offers people an opportunity to go, this is the person I can go to when I want to feel better or when I want to find a resource for something. And then offering it to them in a way that gives them long-lasting results. The other thing to look at for the month of February, Leo, is that Mercury will be retrograding through your 7th house, and then Venus moves into Aquarius in your 7th house on February 2nd, right at the beginning of the month. Mercury retrograded at the very end of January, so we're already feeling it. And in the 7th house, you're going to be revisiting, reevaluating, resurrecting, all these RE words that go along with the retrograde in relationship to relationships, partnerships, competition even, and in some cases, relocation. Some of you Leos may be looking at moving, and most likely it won't be moving very far, but it could. I would venture to say that if you're heavily emphasized Leo chart, then relocating maybe to a different city or a different state. The other thing I would offer during the Mercury retrograde is that you want to be careful you don't make promises to others that you can't keep, that over-promising, under-delivering, because when Mercury's retrograde, it does have a tendency to create a little fogginess around our mind, around our words, and in our connections and in our local community. So you may deliver the information where it sounds perfectly fine to you, but because someone else is maybe feeling a little off or a little foggy, they're going to misinterpret it. So there's very often during a Mercury retrograde misinterpretations. So be very careful that you don't overpromise it to underdeliver, because there will be some disappointments that come from that. If you can, try and stay as fluid and flexible during this time as well, with your calendar, your schedule, with any sort of travel. I know we're under restrictions still, but try and stay as flexible as you possibly can. That's going to help you when it comes to the relationship pieces and being able to feel a little bit more connected to those you're doing business with, to your romantic partner, your friendships, because with Venus in Aquarius, she is going to activate this happiness in you that comes through your friendships. And some of you may even transition a particular friendship out of the friend zone and into romance. And so if this is you and you're wanting to deepen a relationship, a friendship into something more romantic, I would say that February is a great time for it. It's the month of love. Of course, we have Valentine's Day. And so there's expectations around that. Just be careful that the expectations don't get too over the top. However, in the Leo personality, your quirky sense of humor, any sort of unusual sort of parade of personality could attract some others. So if you're single and you're looking for love, be a little different, go be a little quirky, make it unusual, get on stage and perform, so to speak. And like a moth to a flame, people will be attracted to you. And you may also attract unusual people or situations at this time, people that are maybe independent thinkers, ones that are out of the box, that don't really fit into the social norm. And those may be the kind of partners that you attract yourself to. The other thing, you may also find yourself in finances, finding some unusual ways in which you can build a partnership with someone in business or in some sort of monetary exchange. What I would also offer is, because Mercury's retrograde, you take your time, and if you can, if you have to sign papers, because seventh house does have a lot to do with contracts, if you have to sign contracts, just get a second pair of eyes, double check the fine print, that sort of thing. And also keep in mind that some agreements may be revisited down the road. This new moon on February 11th is in Aquarius, and it's in that seventh house. So you may have some new friendships or new partnerships that begin. And like I mentioned, some new romance. The big rule of thumb, take your time. Get to know the person, ask the questions, vet them out, all of that sort of thing. That's going to serve you well. The sun moves into Pisces on February 18th. That moves into your 8th house, which is going to offer, what value do these relationships and these friendships that you have already established in your life, what value is it bringing to other people? So the sun is going to energize you to maybe find some great compassion, using your psychic ability, and also being able to have a little bit of fun and levity within your relationships. And that happens towards the end of the month. So even if the first part of February feels a little foggy or heavier than you would like, I would imagine the end of the month, when the sun moves into Pisces, it'll start to feel a little bit lighter. At the same time, we have the full moon in Virgo on 27th of February in your 8th house. Well, the moon is going to be in the 2nd, the sun in the 8th. And so there may be this letting go or releasing of any sort of partnership or connection that you have that no longer is useful, and it needs to be transformed. Maybe there's some ritual or some sort of practice that you're doing within these partnerships. And I'm not talking about just romance or just spiritual practices. If you think about it, we have routines and we have rituals every day, simply brushing our teeth, taking a shower, whatever it may be. And so there's practices or rituals that happen even in business. You start out with your morning meetings, and then you get your tasks done, and then there's another meeting, and so there's different rituals that also go along with business. And so with the 8th house, we're dealing with what kind of practice or ritual is still useful that may need to be transformed at this full moon, you may be looking at, is there something that I need to be responsible to in the community at large, and it needs to be reevaluated, or the purposefulness of it needs to be looked at. Are we still playing the purpose that is useful, and it allows strong bonds to be formed within my immediate community, within my business structure, within my world? The other thing about this full moon is that you may be looking at power and where it gets released, how it gets released. And that is your responsibility, to really look at where you are, where you have power, where you are in power, and maybe you need more of it. So you may have to let something go in order to step into your power. These are all very eighth house subject matters. So Leo, when you're looking at the month of February, keep in mind that it starts out maybe a little objective, maybe a little feeling sometimes disconnected, if you will. But by the end of the month, there should be some clarity that drops in and allows you to feel deeper connected to those that are meaningful and the things that are purposeful, because you're looking at quality over quantity. And you're looking for excellence, not perfection. That's the other thing with this full moon at the end of the month. It may stir up cracks, if you will, or things that show up as not being perfect, air quote, that you may have to stop and say, wait a minute, am I putting too much emphasis on the perfection and not enough on the excellence? And let's revisit and redo some of the quality in which we need to portray or we need to offer to others. That's a big theme for the month of February, is really looking at the quality in which you are offering. All right, Leo, I certainly hope that this video gives you some pieces that you can use, even if it's just one. I'd love to hear how it goes for you. Find me at jamiedawn.com. Like, comments, share, subscribe these videos, and I look forward to hearing about it. Take care, Leo.